Casper,
Martin.
in the past we had Intel Inside.
What was it? Intel.
Inside Intel. That's what we're going to do today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about Intel.
Yeah, because it was the biggest chip maker until 2021, the
Correct.
biggest in the world. And what happened afterwards? We're going to talk about that. Really interesting. But first,
quick look back at last week. We talked about retail sector. Very good session of market report. A lot of viewers. Thank you for watching. But it was not market-wide that all the retailers are actually suffering. Because of this week we had Nordstrom, Dick's and Best Buy, and they had really solid figures, and they all climbed yesterday in the session. So that was positive for the retail sector compared to last
and for
week.
the economy.
And for the economy.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And we also talked about Amazon as a retailer, and we said it's not really a retailer. We didn't discuss, or I didn't discuss, is that they had the net loss of $3.8 billion. That is what we discussed, but it was also due, or mainly due to the write-off of $7.6 billion of Rivian.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Amazon was in the news because they opened the first shop in California, and the first Amazon style store opened.
Okay.
And they're not really good in opening physical stores so far, because they closed the brick and mortar bookstore and other non-grocery locations. So it's funny to see how they are performing with stores.
Yeah,
Amazon.
Yeah. That's interesting to have a look at that. Yeah.
Inside Intel.
Inside.
Yeah.
Well, because that was in the past that was their
I didn't prepare, but I was.
Intel.
There's an Intel on your computer.
There is an Intel inside.
Are you happy with your computer?
I'm more than happy. Yeah, it's been functioning for a very long time, so I'm very happy with it. Yeah,
okay.
That's
That's good, because the company is not doing that well.
no, they're suffering, I think.
First, look at the chart. Maybe you can show us the chart of 1 year, Martin.
I prepare you here the chart. That's something else. The chart, and we can see that the stock indeed since 2021 has dropped from 55 to almost 43. So that's quite a significant drop.
So 1 year.
Yeah, and if we look at it from a technical perspective, you can see that the long-term moving averages.
What was the highest point?
The highest point of Intel was in April 2021, so about a year and a bit ago, and it was $68, and at the moment it's trading at 43. So
that's 30%.
30%.
But this is not a strange chart. No, this is you can see it with a lot of companies.
Yeah.
So this is not a normal, not a strange chart so far. But
no, absolutely not. And like I said, we put in a few indicators in here. You see that on the longer. If you look from a longer perspective, so on a weekly basis, you see it's still negative.
Mm-hmm.
If you change that to a daily chart, you can see that there is a little bit of hope coming into the prices. You see that the short-term moving average on the daily chart is picking up slightly. So that is for that.
Okay, so we had a look into the company. First of all, that's what we saw is that 64% of the shareholders is in hand of big companies, institutions. Like Vanguard, they're holding 8.5%, and also BlackRock with 8.4%. So with big institutions is 64%. So that's a lot.
Yeah, they're all probably their ETFs and stuff.
Yeah, and they don't sell that much.
No.
They don't trade that much.
No.
So the free float is not that big, no? If you look at the earnings per share, and that's more important, I think. If you look at 2020, it was $4.94 per share. Then it dropped in 2021, so that's what I was saying in the beginning, and that's really strange. I didn't say in the beginning, there is a lackage of chips in the world.
Yeah.
So the revenues went down in 2022 to 4.86. So in the year that 2021, in the year that the shortage became a really big issue, the revenues went down.
Is that due to higher costs or?
Yeah, I have two explanations for it, and the expectations for this year is 348, so even lower.
Yeah.
So in a world where the chips, there are still cars that can't be delivered because of lack of chips.
Insane. Yeah, so something is going wrong.
The biggest chip maker of the world until 2020, they looks like they are losing it or not. But we'll have a look at it. Okay, so they are trading now at a price earning of 12 something. So you pay, if you buy the share now, you buy 12 times the profit. Is that a lot? No, that's not a lot, no?
No, if you look at the averages, it's perfectly fine.
Averages, yeah. If you look at the 5-year average, then that was 13. and the median was 12. So it's trading at the normal price earnings. That's also not. But what I said, they are losing it. They were dethroned by Samsung by the amount of chips that they sold. Of course, Samsung is in memory chips, and Intel is microprocessors. This is the chart that you just did was because of the Intel processor. And the CEO said in the beginning of this year that they, it's quite a problem that they can't deliver new kind of chips. And their success was always that they made everything in-house. So they hired the best engineers, they produced everything in-house. And that's now their main disadvantage. So the first reason is that they are not improving, and the disadvantage is that they can't, for example, stop to produce if one chip, but they make a lot of different kind of chips. And when one chip is not working, they stop producing it. They say to factory X, where they let it make, okay, we stop with it, and then we go to the next one. So Intel is making mistakes, and in the past it worked in their advantage, but now the market is so fast.
Yeah, they can't keep it up.
No, they can't give it up. That's why they didn't improve in the last 5 years, because that was a big risk. Because if they improve and they can't sell that chip, then they have a big loss. Yeah. And Samsung, for example, or Nvidia, they can say, okay, we stop producing that chip, and that's a big problem for them. And TSMC,
Taiwan Semiconductors, yeah,
from Taiwan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
yeah, and they opened in the last years some kind of library, and that's and they work in all the people that want to buy the companies who want to buy the chips. They can see what's available, they can access it. So there's a more open structure.
They also work very closely with our Dutch ASML, right?
ASML.
Yeah, they work together with Taiwan.
Yeah.
I think, or they own part of it.
Yeah,
you know
I think I don't know. They have shares in it.
I think so. Yeah.
And
they split it up for part. Yeah.
So that are the main two reasons. They didn't develop, and the other ones are developing in another structure. So they are facing really hard winds, and they have only maybe a year time to get their market share back. Otherwise, they're facing really big problems.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what the expectations are for ASML and other chip compared to Intel.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, that we want to close up with a comparison company, ASML. Do you have the chart at ASML?
Yeah, I have it in front of me as well.
It's a Dutch one.
ASML, you see on a daily chart actually the same pattern. You see that it's also picking up slightly, I think, on the weekly, so a little bit longer over the last year. You can see here the same pattern. It's still in a negative trend, but of course that is because this week hasn't finished yet. And
based on the moving average?
Based on the moving average, yeah.
And if you look at the chart of 1 year?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. But if you mean like on a daily chart, you see that it's slightly more positive. It's already in a positive divergence since about.
No, but I wanted to say that in 1 year the stock stayed the same.
Oh, it has exactly at the same level. Yeah. It hasn't moved. So you could buy it a year ago at 530, and you could buy it today at 5.
Or what did it do in the past?
Yeah, if you think that the same thing will happen as what happened in the meanwhile for the last, it went up to 625. No, it went up even more.
Much more.
It went up to, let me check. It was 750, and so from 530 to 750.
Yeah.
If the history repeats itself.
And what do they make?
Chips.
Yeah, but they make machines, no?
They make the machines that produce the chips, very specific materials.
Yeah, and they don't make a lot of machines, and all the machines that they make, they sell.
Yeah, and the machines, they last very long, and they refurbish old machines.
I don't know if that's good for their business model. No, but
because they have like it's an ongoing system. You know, it's like not like you buy something and there's a really good video going around. I sent it to you guys. Remember that the CEO was also telling our machines are so good, they never break down, and so but we have to upgrade them and so that's also part of their business.
Yeah. Now, if you look at the stock, what Martin said, trading at 530, and if you look at the earnings per share in 2020 was 8.5, 2021, so last year 14, so it went up instead of Intel, where it went down, and it's expected for this year 1639, already based 1 quarter real figures and 3 quarters expectations. So you see, there is a difference. Intel is going down again this year, and a company like ASML, just to make a comparison, is going up. And you see that also in the price earnings. That's 32. There it was 12 something with Intel. So if you only look at that figure and you only think, okay, price earnings is so important. 12 times the profit. If I buy the company, 12 times is less than 33 times. But you have to go a little level, at least one level deeper.
Yeah.
And if you see at the averages of ASML, also over a period of the last 5 years, we made the same comparison with Intel over the last 5 years, then you see the average is 40 and the median is 38. So it's trading under the average of the 5 years PE. Intel was at the same level. So even when it's much higher, 32 versus 12, in the same area, processors, chips, there is a big difference in that company. Intel is losing it so far. They have to do something, they have to change, but it's difficult because they own the whole chain of the process, and they are facing really hard wind. And companies like ASML are doing it great, and there's a lot of music in because it's trading now at
530.
And what was the highest point?
760.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. That was it now?
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you for watching. Give us a thumb. See you next time.
Next week. Bye.